deal with the three things. One is the ESG expectation perspective from the investor. And the second one is just the very short from our BIOD experience. We're going to share with you the recommendation action to earn what we call the investor trust. And of course, to update you the corporate governance situation in Vietnam. So here is who am I and what I'm together with my team to do. It's very much with as a chair of VIOD, Vietnam Institute of Directors. So IOD, Institute of Directors, considered as one very special institution in the corporate governance and ESG ecosystem. And this is go together with not just about the capital markets, particularly and the finance market generally. So VIOD in Vietnam was established about more than 6 years ago. Together with, you will see our board member, Mr. Thịnh Vũ from Dainam Capital. We worked together for almost 10 years to establish IOD in Vietnam, which is the fourth thing we focus on, the corporate governance, and also we do the corporate governance assessment both in Vietnam, what we call VLCA Vietnam Listed Company Awards. Then we see how the corporate governance in Vietnam every year, practical beyond the compliance, how they're going to do with the best practice in Vietnam. And also we join with ASEAN, what we call ASEAN Corporate Governance Assessment, we call ACG, ASEAN CG Scorecard. And also VIOD, we provide a special training for directors and board of directors in Vietnam. And on top of that, we are now starting to connect all directors in Vietnam together to build a professional corporate governance. We say the corporate governance professional together with professional directors. And very soon, in July, so ASEAN will forming up the director pool for the six countries of ASEAN, then Vietnam is one of them. And the second thing, which is I am involved for a number of years about the Vietnam VBCSD, that very much we focus on the ESG for private sector. As well as just for last 10 years, VCCI, the Business for Sustainability Development, we have the awards. You say that the CSI 100, and very much based on the CSI index from the global, then we do the awards for pioneer who are doing the good ESG in Vietnam. Of course, from the private sector. And together with that, for the last 3 years, with support from Australian Embassy. So we have the award for the company who pioneer on to build what we call the workplace gender equality. So then that's why I'm really appreciate with the ambassador for gender equality, Stephanie. She flew over 1,000 miles into Vietnam, which is for last 6 years with the Australian government support for Vietnam. And not just Vietnam, for 4 countries, which is Vietnam is one of 4, together with Philippines, Indonesia, and Myanmar. We have the investing in women. And one of key factor of investing in women, besides the social norm change and also the policy change, we set up what we call Vietnam, we set up the Business Coalition for Women Empowerment. And here Vietnam Business Coalition for Women Empowerment. And very much we focus on gender equality at workplace to make sure that all the employees from bottom up, they have the right to work and they're happy to work. And the middle management is have more women, and we have the more women and top leadership, which is very much the support from Australian government. And we work very close with that. And then I can see that with all those things, we see that ESG is not just about the environment. And very important with support from the Australian government particularly, and some other country, we see the S with the social impact and social value. And women empowerment from private sector, we focus on workplace gender equality, and then we build what we call the DE&I, diversity, equality, and inclusion. That exactly the companies, both FDI in Vietnam and private sector need to do that to make ESG integrated or integrated ESG. And S is always the key factor in the middle to make sure that the companies stay with the sustainability. That's what we are doing together with our partners, with our friends in Vietnam now. And I'm sure that gonna create a very good ecosystem for investors come to Vietnam more. All right, so ESG expectation from investor. So from the one research of Deloitte, Deloitte do the one research with the over 1,000 investor, private equity fund, asset owners, and investment advisor over the world to see how ESG impact to the capital market and particularly to the private equity market. Then we see here, at the very important, but just one thing we do, we find out the trust. The trust gonna influence behavior. So we see, you may hear all about the customer, they buy products with the responsible product by branding, by trusted awards, and then we see the workforce employee, they work more and better by the trust employer and also the trusted leadership. So what investor want to have from the trust? So here from the corporate governance perspective, we say two words to build the trust for the investor, that one is the transparency and two is integrity. So that is very important than that two factor from corporate governance. So also from the Deloitte research, we're talking about the another thing, the trust is the outcome of competent and positive intent. So you can see here from the competence with capability and intent with the very positive intent, it's come from the humility and transparency. So then you will see from the corporate governance side, if they come from the 5 key factors here. I'm just focused in the corporate governance side and strategic governance. Strategic governance can build the authentic and resilient leadership who gonna commit to the transparency and running the corporate governance particularly and leading the business growth by integrity. So the second thing you will see that if they have the supply chain resilience, so then they can provide what we call responsible product, in which they think about the impact to the society, impact to the environment, and then they can driving with the excellence, which is where the capital gonna grow, and also the company gonna do the performance with distinction. Very much come from the conduct, and then they have the finance integrity and very healthy from finance perspective. The leadership with the innovation, intelligence, and of course technology, and workforce experience. As we talking before about the building the diversity, equality, and inclusion culture. So then the last is very important, which is the amplifying with the culture and purpose. This is a culture and purpose. It's not one of key factor in the corporate culture, corporate culture. Then here in Vietnam, practically, they're talking about the corporate culture and very much with the key purpose, but excluding the board of directors. At VIOD, we define the corporate culture leading by board of directors. And board of directors responsible for corporate culture, and board should have the culture to driving integrity and transparency. This is the also very good research from Deloitte. I know we have Ngọc Trần, Deputy CEO of Deloitte here. If you want to get the further information, contact with my colleagues at Deloitte. And also, you see here, also from the research, we see two things. The answer with how ESG impact to the market. You see, the answer is totally, we see that over 80% think that the ESG even very important and somewhat very important to the growth of the company, which is the G. You see the corporate governance at 88%. You see the social also 82% and environment 83%. ESG now become more important for the company to practice and for investor to do the investment due diligence. Investment due diligence in the past is very much based on the finance data. But now, of course, another section very important, which is the ESG data. So where it come from? It definitely come from the ESG practice. So that is very important for this one. With that, so what is impact to the trust of the investor? So I'm just focused in one keyword, greenwashing. So greenwashing, you see in the reporting of United Nations, when they issue the report back to 2022, the definition of greenwashing is very clear up there for you to read. And then now the greenwashing has become a very important for company to stop doing greenwashing to avoid the risk of greenwashing by typing sustainability to the corporate governance strategy with a clear purpose and clear culture. Then we also in the one other research of ASEAN with just last month we just launched another report of blockchain in 24 and 25. So one sentence at ASEAN country, we say like investors are now hungry to put their money where they see the true values. So where is that? The trust. Where trust come from? Of course, integrity, transparency, then stop greenwashing. So that is very important for the company to do. So we see a lot of scandal of the ESG, which is I have no time to talk about the scandal of Volkswagen on the ESG admission. We see the women's sake. We see the oil industry. They have the greenwashing and they got the penalty. It's not just about the money, but also it damaged the company reputation. And it also makes a huge loss for investors. So ESG now is very important, which is to stop greenwashing. So what should the company do? So here's the recommendation. I'm talking about 3 recommendations for the company. So all investors understand that it's have the gap from when the policy is issued, then it comes to reality. So the gap can say that the window opportunity for the pioneers, the enterprise and entrepreneur who committed to build the ESG sustainability and to attract the investor. So four recommendations from what we think to do. One is the strength strengthen sustainability governance capability through by great coordination with the cross CISOs. The ESG, not just about the board, not just about the CEO, not just about the chief ESG, that all CISOs should be involved as a one strategy of the company. The second thing, involve the investor engagement to understand the requirement, and then also the assessment platform to enhance the transparency and accountability. We really need the big investment equity fund in leading in the market, and they show the requirement for the company to understand what the requirement from the investor, then they can practice that. Invest sustainability measurement, reporting the system, and compliant with the high quality disclosure. High quality disclosure, no time to talking about that, but of course, stop greenwashing. And of course, collaboration with sustainability disclosure with the third-party assurance. We need the third-party assurance to certify the information, then build the trust. Here, the OCCO involvement, not just the one, so we have the all together to make sure that the ESG practice in reality. So here is the picture of Vietnam. So in Vietnam, back to 2011, ASEAN established the capital market, which is they using the ACGS, ASEAN CG scorecard, as a one measure of corporate governance of the all markets of the 6 countries. That Vietnam is one of them, together with Philippines, Thailand, Singapore, Indonesia, and Malaysia. So very important that we focus in enhancement the ACGS, where we can see the corporate governance capability, and they can set up what they call the ASEAN asset company. So investor can have the trust to build to investment on that. So VIOD, we in charge as a technical partner authorized by government to do that together with other countries in ASEAN. The last, here you see the situation. So of course Vietnam is we number 6 among the 6 countries, but we see the improvement of the rating every year. And 3 parts. We say the part A with the right of shareholder, we about there. And then we need to practice more. And also the equitable treatment of shareholder, we are just the middle. And we need more action, but in the right track and ready to go. And the part C with the role of stakeholders, we just about the middle. And we need more reinforcement, both from government and from the investor. So companies, they do a lot of improvement from the customer and from the investor, not from the government. So then we need that. And one thing which is that VIOD, we're working on that, is that the part E, responsible of the board. It is really, we say like a little bit far behind from the thing, but in the right track to do. All those things that for last 10 years, with the six-term assessment, Vietnam keep improving every time. And all of those, you may, this is no time to share with that, but at least you see that in the ownership of the listed company in Vietnam, we have only 9.7 come from the investor outside of Vietnam. Why is it? Because we need to more transparency and more information. And we hope that this year government are working very hard in the upgrade the Vietnam stock market from the frontier to emerging market, and with more transformation. Then we have we see the 9.7% from the positive side, it's a lot of opportunity for investor and then private equity fund to come to Vietnam. So then the last one, which is we say here, the target in 2025. So we need the ecosystem for the ESG, but of course the government now is focused on the regulation, and they change the regulation to make sure that less barrier. So for the investor, which is the ESG more, and on corporate governance, and no limit. They open more room for the for foreigners to owners share in Vietnam in different industry, as well as they working on the technical issue with the pre-funding. But from the corporate governance side, we see a lot of change in the degree, what we call say degree 1.5, to have the more guideline on the under the law. So corporate governance is put more on that, and then with that, and then change the awareness into the action of the company. We think that the time for Vietnam market to open, time for Vietnamese company to transform to ESG integrated in practical way, and time for investor come to Vietnam more. That's all for my presentation, and contact me for more information if you need it. Thank you very much.